Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, The College Process. Once again, I'm Ed from Principia Prep, and today we're going to take a little different approach to our videos. If you watch my other couple videos I just posted in the last week here, what I'll be doing now every Friday going forward is going into the comment section and just answering all the comments you guys left for the last week. Now, to make things kind of simple here, since it's the first time you're doing this, the way I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each question here and answer each question as I go through it. Now, the question I'm answering will be basically addressed to the video on the right. So if you look here on the right, I'll go to the first question here. This question down here is about the video that we made about the courts blocking the student loan forgiveness process. Now, what I'll do is, as I go through the questions, if there's any statements or any comments as far as great video, or maybe if it's a statement kind of thing, I'm obviously not going to answer it here. I'm only going to be answering the questions here. So you guys have questions about the college process throughout any of the videos here, they all pop up, all the comments you leave on the videos pop up here in our comment section. So if you guys are watching any of our other videos and are leaving any questions, I will be answering them every Friday going forward here on the channel here. So I'll be making this video, posting it to your YouTube channel, and then letting you guys basically watch it. Now, if you guys like this kind of format where I'm answering all your questions on a Friday, if you like this format and you think it's a good idea, leave us a like. Also, leave us some comments as well, letting us know that you like this format of me answering a lot of frequently asked questions. So that way, a lot of people get their questions answered throughout our videos here. As far as me answering the questions, I'm going to go back to a couple of days prior to basically more than 7 days to answer as many questions as possible. Now, you guys have been asking a lot of questions on the channel, so obviously I'm a little behind here in the comment section. So I figured the best way for me to help you guys out and answer your questions is just do the video, get all the questions out of the way every week on Friday. That way everyone has the answers to the questions. So what I did was I jumped onto our comment section here on our channel, and we'll start from basically 9 days back. And if any of the videos or any of the questions you guys have are very in-depth as far as a little more detail, I will follow up your question. I actually will make a video just to make it easier for you if I can get more detail, more context to it, so you guys better understand why the answer is what the answer is. And we'll do now is we'll jump right into the questions right from day number 9 here. So first question, Ed, thank you. If they are still in litigation come late December, do you think they will extend the pause again? That I do believe that they are looking at, and they more likely will extend the student loan forbearance again past the January 1st deadline. Now, what typically happens is they typically extend it anywhere from 3 to 6 months. I would expect at least a 3-month extension. That's what I'm hoping for. Obviously, if it extends the forbearance, that means no payments are due. We're still at 0 interest rates. So if you want to start paying down the loan, it's an aggressively good way of paying it down. So that way you have less debt. And if you are going to pay it down, the benefit is if the student loan forgiveness does come through, as I mentioned before, whatever you paid into the student loan forgiveness will be refunded back to you, because they've already indicated that. If you watch our last video, I'll put a link here to it in the description down below. I'll put the link down there. You can watch the video again. But I do explain in there that they have already said if you're paying during the forbearance time frame, which is March 2020 until now, essentially, to the end of the forbearance, then they will actually refund you back the money you paid to the lender. Okay, so that being said, let's go to the next question here. Oh, here we go. I made a correction on the FAFSA form, on the FAFSA application, resubmitted it, got confirmation, and went back in to check a week later, and it said processed. A month later, I received an email saying it has not been processed. It has not been submitted to correction form. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, when it comes to the FAFSA form, there's been many issues this year for various reasons. What I would do if you have any issues with the FAFSA, as far as you think it didn't go through, or it looks like there's an error on the page after you submitted it, very simple. Give it about a day or two, come back in, and what you're looking for is to show at the top that says successfully completed, successfully submitted. If it shows you that here, and I'll show you a screenshot of it here, if it shows you that here, then that means you guys are fine. If it says this on here, it means it's gone through, you guys are okay. The system's been having a lot of issues this year, unfortunately, but I'm telling almost every parent, after you submit the form, just double check it a couple days later, a week later. That being said, let's go down to the next question here. The current address is different than the address on the 2020 taxes. Which address do we use to match? Okay. The question they're basically asking here is, we had a 2020 address on our taxes. Then we moved. So we moved in 21 or moved in 22. So we live at a different address. And we want to do what's known as the IRS retrieval tool within the student's FAFSA, which basically means you upload your taxes directly from the IRS right into the student's FAFSA. Now, the way to do that is you must copy exactly what the 2020 taxes say. So even though you moved, when you go into the IRS retrieval part of the FAFSA, they basically will do what they're doing at the FAFSA is sending you over to the IRS. Whatever tax year you need, whether it's 20 or 21 or next year 22 taxes, what you guys will need to be doing is every time you guys do the FAFSA IRS retrieval, it must match the address from the tax return, regardless of where you live. So the next question here. So it's not necessary to do the Google Authenticator. That was so confusing, and I couldn't do it, so I would just exit the page and start all over again. If you're having an issue creating the FAFSA IDs, because that's the video on the right here, I see you guys were trying to do the step-by-step guide to create your FSA IDs. If you guys were having issues with that, the site, once again, the FAFSA site, which is connected to the FSA ID account to be able to create it, has been crashing all year round, unfortunately. So if you were having issues, I would suggest if it crashed or showed you an error message, give it a day or two and then go back in and create the student ID and the parent ID. Because if it had an issue, I'd go back in. Go to the next questions here. On the right here, we can see that the video is about the students working and how much they can make before it counts against you for financial purposes. The question is the $7,600 a year before or after taxes? And the way it works is when I say the $7,600 is the max your student can make up to before they start counting any income they make against you for financial purposes, that means that's their adjusted gross income. Line 11 on your tax return, whether it's 20 or 21, line 11 is where it shows the adjusted gross income. If they make $7,600 or less adjusted gross income, the income of the student doesn't count against you for financial purposes. Let's go down to the next question here. Okay, I'm just going to jump ahead here in the video and just get to the part where I get to questions, because I don't want to keep you guys here just watching me read, because I think it's be completely boring and just you guys won't even know why I'm reading or what I'm reading or what I'm thinking about. So I'm just going to keep going down here. Here we go. Here we go. Here's a question. So before I can do anything on the HESA, I need to complete my FAFSA. And the answer is yes. On the right here, you see I'm talking about the video talking about state aid for state New Jersey students here. Now, to complete the HESA site questions to be eligible for state aid, you must first do the FAFSA form, because the FAFSA form and the HESA form are both actually linked together to give you state aid. So yes, you must first fill out the FAFSA form, then you must then do the HESA form afterward. And if you watch this video here, I actually talk about the confirmation page on the FAFSA and how to connect it to the state of New Jersey or California or New York or any state you're really from to connect to get the state aid. So if you watch this video, description down below, explaining you guys how to do the state part after you guys do the federal form, obviously the FAFSA form. Let me go to the next question here. So from James here, so he wants the video about how to pay for college, whether it's 529s or better, or loans, or payment plans, or paying out of pocket. So let's see what James's question here is. Here's my question. My senior has been accepted to schools in states and in-state and out-of-state. He is interested in physical education major. We do not have very much in savings, maybe $2,000 or $3,000. We have not received any information regarding financial aid. Our household income only cracked $100,000 in 5 years. What would you suggest? And we have a junior looking into future plans as well. Unfortunately, I can't answer this question because the school list is, I have no idea what it is. But the way I would handle it is this. If my income is around $100,000 and my student's looking at private schools, I'm perfectly fine with that, because many of the private schools will allow you or will provide you an income of roughly around $100,000, a ton of financial assistance. So if you're looking at Case Western, Bucknell, Carnegie, if you're looking at schools like Gettysburg, if you're looking at schools like USC, or if you're looking at schools, pretty much any school, high-level school, mid-level school, safety school situation, any schools, if they have a lot of financial assistance available, I would have them on my list, because at the $100,000 threshold, even with just one student in school, many of these schools are going to cost somewhere between $15,000 to $20,000 just from an income perspective. And if I'm having it, and obviously in this situation with a second student in school, that's obviously going to skyrocket the financial aid eligibility. So any private colleges for your situation, I'm definitely considering. Now, when it comes to the public schools, it depends on a few factors. First is if it's a safety school, I'm okay with it, because very likely we're going to see merit aid availability, i.e. scholarships. If the school doesn't provide merit aid and I'm out-of-state resident, it's going to be tough, because most of the time they're not going to provide assistance, unfortunately, if you're out of state. Just some things to consider. But if you want, obviously, if you give me more detail, I can give you more insight, maybe make a video for you guys. But I need more insight about the school list, the students' academics, and everything else. But that's kind of like a broad way I look at it, just kind of an idea of how to answer your question here. And let me go to the next question here. What is the net worth of parents' investments? Does this include the 529 plans, or is this going under the kids? Now, when it comes to the 529 plans, the college savings plans, they pretty much all go under the parents section, by the way. And you want them to go under the parents section because of this consideration. 529 plans, if you put them in the parents section, they count at 5.6% towards paying towards the cost of college. If you put them in the student section by accident, which some parents do, they count at 20%. So to give you an example, if I had $100,000 in 529 money and I put it in the parent section, it's affecting us by $5,600. That's how much financial aid space we're losing. If I put it in the student section, I'm losing $20,000 of financial aid space, which is a tremendous amount, obviously close to 4 times the financial aid space lost which means the school can't help us with that money there because we're taking it up with the money we have, okay? So yes, 529 plans go into the parent section of the FAFSA form and the CSS profile as well. Next question here. Okay, now you're gonna see this right here. Every time you guys see someone saying, "Thank you, Ed, great video," and they mention their school and the school's year of graduation, this is how our scholarship program works. This is the first time you're watching one of these videos. Every time you guys comment on the video and leave these comments, these kind of comments here, it makes your school eligible for our scholarship program, okay, which I talk about in every one of the videos, okay? So let me just go through here, get to the next question. Here we go. Thank you for the information. Can you please make a video on the FAFSA EFC calculator? Yes, we actually have this already in one of our videos, believe it or not. In the video we have here, our webinar explaining the entire financial aid process. This video here, by the way, I have it in the description down below the link. In this video, I go step by step of how the expected family calculator works for the FAFSA form, actually break down all the equations. So if you watch our video here, it will actually show you guys here how the whole EFC process works. Here we go. Hi, Ed, I've been watching some of your loan videos and I am a little confused. My son is a second-year student at Rutgers University. I think we were awarded only unsub loan for 2 years, which we declined. My first question, I guess there's more than one question. My first questions are, is there a subsidized and unsubsidized portion of a loan? And second question is, if I understand correctly, the interest on an unsub loan starts the day you take it out. Yes, the way it works is this. When you guys fill out the FAFSA form, and by the way, the video that he watched was understanding the subsidized and unsubsidized loans that you get from filling out the FAFSA. Because the way it works is, you guys fill out the FAFSA form, and it automatically makes you eligible for federal student loans. Now, the way it works is once you guys get the federal student loans, the school itself, or actually the FAFSA form, when you fill it out, once you complete it, the student's automatically offered the loan because it's called a federal entitlement. It must be offered to the student. For freshman year, your student gets $5,500, sophomore year, $6,500, and junior and senior year, they're offered $7,500. You can decline the loan or accept the loan. You don't have to take it, but it must be offered to you because it's called a federal entitlement. Now, when it comes to these loans, you have to have financial aid space available for them to offer you the two types of loans. There's a subsidized portion and an unsubsidized portion. For most freshman students, you typically get $3,500. Subsidized means the government's paying the interest while the student's in school up to 6 months after they graduate. That's when the interest and the repayment process starts. The unsubsidized part the interest starts immediately from day one. You can obviously, from this loan as well, start paying it back 6 months after you graduate. You can take either one of the loans, say no to both, or take both. Now, the way it works, the reason this parent is not getting subsidized and unsubsidized loan is because of the fact they have no financial aid space. Let me explain how this works. Let's say you fill out the FAFSA, and the FAFSA at the end says you can pay $30,000. That's what they think your expected family contribution number is. And let's say the school cost $25,000. So you can pay theoretically more than the school costs. That means you have no financial aid space. So in this case, with no financial aid space, they do not provide you both loans. They only provide you the unsubsidized portion, unfortunately. So yes, you are very likely doing everything correct, but your income, your assets, whatever it may be, basically puts you at a level where there's no financial need. So the school, i.e. the federal government, unfortunately, cannot provide you the subsidized portion of the loan, which is the interest-free portion. They can only provide you the unsub, which has the interest rate growing from day number one. All right, next question here. If I am a little below the 50th percentile for the SAT, can I still send them in? Well, I need to know what you mean by a little below. Now, if you look at the video here, it's the video I talk about sending in SAT scores or not sending in this year for the 22-23 senior year class of high school students. Should we send test scores in or not? I talk about in the video where I like to be able to send the scores or not. Now, if you're below the 50th percentile, I am okay with it as long as you're close to it. Let me give you an example. Let's say the SAT minimum score at the school is 1,300, just using it. And your score is 1,100, I'm not sending it. I'm nowhere near the score. But if I'm, let's say, around a 1260, 1270, I feel comfortable sending that score. Yes. ACT, similar situation, but it's a 1 to 3 point scenario here where if the school's median score is, let's say, a 31, 32, and I get, let's say, a 27, 28, I feel comfortable. But if I have 22, I'm not sending it in. Just kind of like a quick little thing here. But if you guys are watching this video and seeing your answer, once again, in the video, I describe the length as far as the amount of space of points between SAT median score and ACT median scores that I would send the test scores in, and which I would not as well. Next question. I'm looking at Nina here, by the way, if you're wondering, guys. Will failing a dual enrollment class, then retaking and passing the class, get acceptance letters be taken away? I guess the question is, if your student fails a class in high school in senior year, And will that be used against them for the college admissions? And the way college admissions works is this, by the way. When you guys get accepted, it's not a guaranteed acceptance. And this is what I mean by it's not guaranteed acceptance. On every acceptance letter, it says contingent upon academic progress. What that means is if your student fails a class, or your student fails at a high school, or your student does something illegal, the admissions office can withdraw the acceptance. They can take it away, believe it or not. And something I talk about in one of my videos here, this video specifically here, the video about senioritis. Now, this video also in the description down below. This video, I talk about the importance of finishing off school year strong because of the fact that they can take away your acceptance. So yes, lean towards the you don't want to fail the class situation here, okay? Because if you do fail it, they can withdraw the acceptance, unfortunately. How do I apply or get in touch with someone to get my student loan debt? I'm not sure what you mean by your question here. If you're talking about student loan forgiveness, right now the website is paused, so you can't apply for anything right now. You're gonna have to wait till it goes to the courts to see if they reestablish it to allow you to sign up for it. But right now, you cannot sign up for it, unfortunately. Let's go down to the next questions here. Hi, Ed. This is really urgent. I want to create a FAFSA ID, but I have no social. I am from Africa. Unfortunately, unless you have a social security number, you're a US citizen, you cannot create a FAFSA ID. The FAFSA IDs can only be created by those who have social security numbers. If you are a US citizen and don't have a social, or a permanent resident and don't have a social, then as a permanent resident, you can still fill out the FAFSA. However, you'll be filling out the FAFSA, going in manually and filling in all your information. You cannot get an FSA ID. The FSA IDs are only able to be gotten if you have a social security number. It's the only way to create them, unfortunately. Let me go to the next question here. I'm so boggled. My husband and I earn much less than 100,000 combined, and we only got 5,500 in aid. The cash we have in the bank is 3 months emergency fund. Let me see what the question is. I need to figure out the best steps as she's graduating in May. Now, I'm not sure what your question is, but I think I know your question might be, how do we fund this? Now, to give you a perspective, a broad perspective, here in the Northeast where I live, and I do a lot of high schools and I help a lot of parents out through meetings, I typically tell parents the average price tag for a Northeast family, like what we're paying here to go off to college for students, is typically 40 to 45,000. So if you're in that range, you're kind of like the normal student, good, bad, or indifferent of what you're paying. If you fall below that, you're kind of like, I guess, winning the game as far as the college cost. If you fall above that, I don't want to say you're losing the game, but you're kind of like bringing the median score up kind of thing. That being said, almost every family I deal with across the board, almost all of them, I'd say 9 out of 10 families, good, bad, or different, utilize loan funds to help pay for the college costs. Now, right now, when it comes to college, for me, the number one way to go is probably the NJ class loan if you're looking to fund the loans or fund a loan to help or use a loan to fund the college process, because they have the lowest rates right now. Then followed by the federal government's Parent Plus loan, and then followed by the private loans. That's right now because the private loan rates are so high because interest rates are going up. That could obviously change. If you want help with the loan stuff, or anyone watching this wants help with the loan stuff, I do make a loan list of who the best lenders are based on interest rates in June, and I send it to everyone. So if you guys want that, very simple, just email me. I'll give you my contact information at the end of the video, and I'll email you. If you want more help than that, I'll also have my contact information on here for all you guys. You can send me an email or a text letting me know what kind of questions you guys have and what more help you guys need, okay? That being said, let's keep going down here. Let's see what other questions we have. So I've been trying to pay off my student loan, but I applied for the student loan forgiveness hoping that it would go through. But if I plan to pay it off now, I was planning I can still get a refund to pay it off. Yes, exactly. If you guys, if you see here, they watched the last video I put about if you guys want to aggressively pay down the loan, that I would say, yes, you can pay it down because you will be refunded from March 2020 until the end of the forbearance. Any payments you make, they will be refunded as part of the student loan forgiveness process. All right, so let's just go find the other questions here. All right, good, perfect. We don't have any more questions left. Once again, guys, if you like this format, if you like me answering questions and so on and so forth, leave the questions and comments on the screen on the videos here. I will do this every Friday, answering your questions to make sure everyone gets all their answers for their questions done. Other than that, on the screen is my contact information. If you guys need help or have questions to ask, very simple, just ask away in the comment section here. I will be answering your questions going forward. Or if you need additional assistance going forward, if you need a meeting to figure out your situation, you can either email me or you can also call me. I will help out that way as well. So once again, I do offer one-on-one meetings through Zoom to help out parents. Easiest way to reach me is through either text message or email. Those are the two fastest way to reach me. Other than that, thank you for watching today's video. Once again, my name is Ed from Principia Prep.